Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, and transmitting from the land of enchantment. Exactly. I hope I pronounce this right. Tucumcari, New Mexico. Yep, that's right. I am on the road. Gonna visit some family and head out to other states, work and play for the summer. So I will return to South Florida around late September, early October. Just had to get away and take care of some business, but I'm gonna do my show. I know it's been a while. I've done one like last Friday, and I do apologize. I was just driving and falling asleep, and sometimes I make a mistake too by going too much. However, I just the destination is not far at all, so got a good night's sleep. Have my boy here, Jake, the dog, beautiful pup, kept me company. So it's all positive, and I thank everyone for checking in on my Facebook page and all that. And just keep those blessings coming, okay? I do need them. Yeah, it's I'm gonna do a few things, maybe a short one again, but I'm just examining a couple areas. And the first I'm going to be discussing is from banco.com, or bhbanco.com, Benton Harbor, Michigan to be exact. And it's about Reverend Edward Pinckney. Looks like he got set up. And this is the latest one here. It's called Prosecutorial Misconduct. Hope I pronounced that name right. Prosecutorial Misconduct. Yep, that's a tongue twister there. That's okay. I'm still learning. So I know you guys have a laugh about that, which is good. All right. And as it reads here, it came out to be exact. The 23rd of July, so I think I did it's Friday, July 24th. And as it says here, Reverend Edward Pinckney was charged with MCL, which is Michigan Criminal Law 168.937, with 5 felony counts of forgery. They were based on allegations that he altered dates to signatures on petitions to recall Benton Harbor puppet mayor James Hightower. He was also charged under the same statute with 6 misdemeanor counts of falsely certifying petitions for recall of Hightower by indicating that no person has signed petitions more than once. Reverend Pinckney was convicted of all felony forgery counts by a rogue jury, and was motivated by something other than the truth. This jury ignored the law and evidence in reaching a conspicuous verdict. The jury based their verdict on unrevealed prejudices. This rogue jury verdict was not based on a desire to have a fair, just, or moral outcome. Hold on here. Boop. All right. After a 2-day jury selection, the prosecutor presented absolutely no direct evidence in over 3 days of trial. He has summary of the prosecutor's case regarding the felony counts, the general circumstances and procedures by which petition for recall of Hightower was approved, along with the general procedural requirements for recall petitions. Testimony from many petition circulators regarding their activities circulating petitions, and about Reverend Pinckney's political activism in relation to not only the recall, but also other political and social matters in Berrien County. The petitions circulated by these persons were not the subject of the charges. Testimony from Mr. Mark Goff, a forensic documents examiner from Michigan State Police, who testified that it appeared dates were changed on some of the recall petitions, but expressed no opinion as to who made the changes. So it's an assumption. Ooh, kind of, sort of. He specified that he could not state that Reverend Pinckney made the alleged changes. Goff provided his testimony in relation to the petitions that were the subject of the 5 felony counts and which Pinckney certified as having circulated. Testimonies from persons including County Clerk Sharon Tyler and Mayor Hightower regarding Reverend Pinckney's political activity and his opposition to certain politicians and the company, Whirlpool. This testimony includes matters that were controversial in the community and which were not directly related to the Hightower recall. It also included several efforts to recall Tyler herself after the recall petitions in question were allegedly forged and turned into county clerk office, and even charges were brought against Reverend Pinckney. The prosecutor claimed this evidence was admissible under MRE 404. Okay, so that's the Michigan regulated elections, I believe, but it is under that. To prove motive to forge petitions to recall Hightower, the defense objected on state law grounds under MRE 404B and under the First Amendment. Prosecutors septic violate the Michigan Rules of Evidence. That's how you call it, Rules of Evidence, the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, due process by introducing evidence of Reverend Pinckney's protected speech, political activity, and community activity. It was prosecutorial misconduct. Prosecutorial misconduct, and he must be held accountable for his actions. This Berrien County Courthouse does not bend towards justice, but rather bows to the masters of consolidated corporate capital. We must stand together and fight the criminal enterprise, not in only Berrien County, but around the world. That was done by Reverend Pinckney. He is correct. Reverend Pinckney is just an example. When good men try to do right, you got demoniacs in the system. Try to bend it. Try to put fear into people. Now, thanks to technology, we can counterbalance that to everyone's advantage. Not just the United States or Michigan, but around the world. In addition, I am convinced, too, that the prosecutor has violated state Michigan's Constitution as well, and which almost has the same identities as the U.S. Constitution in certain measures. These bastards need to be brought to justice. And corporatism is not capitalism, period, under Adam Smith's version. Open free market is great. Mercantilism, neo-mercantilism, corporatism, fascism, even in a state or local level, is unacceptable. I see it's happening in a lot of cities, even Fort Lauderdale, where I'm from. They lobby for beat garbage, victimless crime laws, a la feeding the homeless, Arnold Abbott case, for an example, and a few others. It is nothing more than a sham, and Whirlpool needs to be held accountable for it. And to all those people that all those folks that want to purchase products, boycott them. I know my last episode there is information on that as well, which says we must stand together. You can look at that past episode, read that past episode. I have everything on my speaker page, so just to get you guys know. And there is a donation drive for this too. And in addition, there's a boycott list on this page also. And plus, there's a fundraiser. Publicity t-shirt are in white sizes: medium, large, extra large, and 2X. Donation is $10 and $3 for shipping. Payment can be made at moratorium-mi.org, or checks can be sent to Moratorium Now, 5920 2nd Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, 48202. And it says here, free Reverend Edward Pinckney, victim of racist Michigan frame-up. And they do have a quick pal too to donate, and there's a link too for Central Coordinating Committee. All right, so just I am entitled to put this out. I know that, like I did the last episode, one of my episodes, I had Edward Pinkney on, talking about Edward Pinkney. I had some good hits. I know people have shared it as well, and I do appreciate it. This is just an example, my friends, of corruption, how it does, tyranny, how it affects people's lives. And he's just a very good example. And please, keep him in your thoughts, your prayers, your blessings, your rituals, don't matter what you believe in. This man has been unjust. I am well convinced. Spread this message to everyone you know, including your enemies, because you can have some differences, but a lot of them have families as well, and they shouldn't be affected on this also. So, next thing I'm going to do, you can say pertaining to this, is just a good example. From Personal Liberty, came out today. It's from the Observer, U.S.-Observer staff. That's the name of the person. It's a pen name. It says here, liberty and justice for all, a frustrating experience. I want to share a frustrating experience I had recently that will be a good lead in to this month's topic. While observing court, I happened to see a woman whose case was on for an arraignment on a misdemeanor. To make a long story short, I will summarize that the pertinent information. This woman believes she was not guilty of the offense with which she was charged. She politely declined the judge's generous offer to reduce her misdemeanor charge to a violation, which is a significant reduction as violations are not crimes, generally speaking, and she exited the courtroom. She re-entered the courtroom 10 minutes later, and I knew she had changed her mind about contesting the criminal charge. I was able to make contact with her and informed her that I reviewed her case at no charge. I'm a defense lawyer. She expressed a great deal of gratitude, but ultimately, after experiencing some additional turmoil, decided to plead guilty because she could not handle court. What I want to convey is that this woman genuinely believes she was not guilty, had an attorney offer to her review her case for free, and pleaded guilty anyway. Sixth Amendment provides right to counsel. The Sixth Amendment provides in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to have assistance of counsel for her defense. At this outset, it is important to understand what a criminal prosecution is. A criminal prosecution is when a prosecutorial agency, an example, city attorney, district attorney, attorney general, U.S. attorney, etc., has filed a complaint against a citizen alleging that the citizen has committed a crime. A quick rule of thumb to determine whether any given law is criminal is whether it is punishable by any amount of time in jail or prison. There may be some exceptions, but as I said, this is a good rule of thumb. Although a person almost always has a right to be represented by an attorney, criminal prosecutors are unique, which is evidenced by their specific reference in the Sixth Amendment. Criminal prosecutions are unique because, in one hand, you have the executive branch of government with this vast authority and apparent limitless resources threatening the life and liberty of the accused, and on the other hand, you have an individual citizen who oftentimes is already being condemned by his peers due to publicity. Yep, exploitation. A good example, George Zimmerman. They exploit the crap out of him, and many others. Okay? And it's not taking sides, but it's just a very good example. Another one, too, is Lizzie Borden. Look it up. In 1963, the U.S. Supreme Court, in addressing the importance of counsel in criminal prosecution, said a criminal defendant requires the guiding hand of counsel at every step in the proceedings against him. Without it, though he be not guilty, he faces the dangers of conviction because he does not know how to establish his innocence. As someone who is intimately involved in criminal prosecutions, I completely agree with the sentiments of the Supreme Court. Additionally, we must all understand that there is more at stake than just any one person's interest in any given case. Every time a person is prosecuted and that government agents involved were lazy, corrupt, or just plain wrong, and the accused does not contest it. A president is set for the next person. It sends a message to our government. We don't care that you are lazy, corrupt, or just plain wrong. You may continue doing what you are doing. A good analogy highlighting this concept would be in how a child tests the rules of his parents. The child will engage in behavior violating the rule so long as the parents permit it. If the parents do nothing to enforce the rule, there is no reason for the child to adhere to it. So, it is with our government. The government has been giving rules, but we, the citizenry, do not assert our rights, then the government will progressively continue to violate them. When I was a prosecutor, I once had an officer request criminal charges against a person for a criminal code section that did not exist. I am confident that there are prosecutors would have charged the person for the alleged crime that did not exist. I am also certain that there are people who have walked into court at the arraignment and plead guilty to the alleged crime that did not exist. Having the assistance of competent legal counsel is a fundamental right we may assert to help encourage and compel our government to play by the rules. Going back to the woman who opted to plead guilty to a crime she believes she did not commit. What has she gained? Practically speaking, she gained nothing. What has she lost? She probably lost a couple of $100s in fines and fees while escorting to a government that may have been prosecuting her wrongfully. This acquiescence encouraged the government to maintain the status quo, and the acquiescence to an overreaching government is not conducive to maintain liberty. If you find yourself on the defending end of a criminal prosecution, I encourage you to assert your rights. Find a lawyer you can trust. No snickering. They are out there, and if they'll give you some feedback on your case, it doesn't matter whether it's a felony, misdemeanor, or infraction violation. Do not acquiesce. Our liberties at stake. On June 1st, 1837, Daniel Webster said, "I apprehend no danger to our country from a foreign foe. Our destruction, should it come at all, will be from another quarter, from the attention of the people to the concerns of their government, from their carelessness and negligence. I must confess that I do apprehend some danger." This is this whole article is written by Nathan Renty. So, you have to, and they're correct. Don't be a coward. Don't be a doormat to these bastards. You have your rights. They are natural born. Not given by government or man. Doesn't matter if you believe in the Creator. Regardless, it's from a higher up or Mother Nature. It's your decision. Doesn't matter if you're an atheist or a Christian. But you'll have to agree that this is absolutely unacceptable. We all have obligations. Learn it. Like I said before, we got technology. Study your rights. Share this with everybody else. Inspire people. The whole thing is, government believes we need them. That is part of the Pavlov dog's training, or Ed Benaz's playbook. Propaganda. Definitely know your rights. Learn them. Exercise them. Even on a federal and state level. Do your homework. Hey, I gotta thank my father for this. May his soul be forever free. Was a pain in my butt when he tells me, do your effing homework. Do your effing homework. He had that, Hell's Kitchen attitude from the 50s. So, but you know what? I thank him every day. Because now look what I'm doing. Doing my homework, sharing information. He's a good inspiration. He had his demons, but it's very inspiring. I always keep that in mind. And my mom too, so, But the whole thing is you have to remain vigilant. No ands, ifs, or buts. And share this information, share this knowledge with everyone you know. Hey, that's why I have a Facebook page, a Twitter, and Google Plus. I'm not gonna talk about I had sex with my wife last night. I'm not gonna talk about my personal doings. Come on, give me a break. Or you got screwed on the job. Come on, that's totally juvenile. You keep that under wraps. Only those that know. You don't exploit yourself like this here. Know your rights. And that's why I get a little touchy when people want to throw in the towel and go, you don't understand, I have to make a living. Because here's the thing, truth, justice, and the goody two-shoes way is the road to blowback. If you disagree, please prove me wrong. And I say that out of love. Alright, well, the next one here is a horrific event that happened in Lafayette. Another movie theater shooting. And I'm going to put these together. And this is from the Gun News. Actually, I get from Airs Armor. And they shared this out here. It says here, police says last night, Lafayette, Louisiana, movie theater shootings have left 3 people dead, including the gunman. At least another 7 people were injured. Shooters described as a 58-year-old white male. Police did not reveal his identity. They said he had an old criminal record. However, they were withholding further information about him due to the ongoing investigation. The shooting took place at a Grand Theater 16 movie complex, one of 2 movie theaters in the town, roughly of 120 residents, located about 60 miles southwest of Baton Rouge. Lafayette Police Chief Jim Kraft told reporters that around 7:30 p.m. his department received reports of a shooting at the theater. About 100 people were inside the Grand Theater 16 at the time of the incident. The tragedy took place around 20 minutes into the shooting of the new film Trainwreck. A man allegedly entered the theater by himself. Then, standing in the aisles, he began shooting with a handgun. Witnesses say that he did not say anything. Since moviegoers who were heard loud popping sounds thought was part of the movie or came from a firecracker. Various witnesses described the scene as chaotic. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal shared stories of heroism he heard took place inside a movie theater. The gunman killed at least 2 people and injured at least another 7, and he turned the gun on himself and took his own life. 4 Lafayette police officers entered the theater to try to only find the shooter dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police Chief Kraft said he had no reason to believe the shooter acted with anyone else or he had targeted any other locations besides Grand 16 Theater, Kraft told reporters. We do not know whether it was a random act or whether it's a domestic situation. Police did not know the motive of the shooter, whether he was targeting certain moviegoers or randomly shooting people. Shooting victims were ages from teens up to their 60s. All 7 were injured, were being treated at local hospitals. Their medical conditions were reported to range from minor injuries to life-threatening. After midnight, police found the vehicle believed to belong to the shooter. A suspicious package was inside. The area was evacuated. The Louisiana State Police Department was investigating. The Louisiana movie theater shooting happened 3 days after the 3rd anniversary of the attacks by James Holmes, who killed 12 and injured 70 more, opening in Aurora, Colorado movie theater. Amy Schumer, star of the movie Trainwreck, acknowledged her condolences to the victims, standing outside the hospital for a press conference. Governor General told the media, this was an awful night for Lafayette. It was an awful night for Louisiana. This was an awful night for the United States. That's like, just curious right now if this guy had another mind control victim. It's just one of those horrific events. It's so coincidental too, with the James Holmes case, and there's a couple other instances going on with people going on these shooting sprees. So I'm going to continue on here. I'm going to put these 2 together. This is from The Guardian. There's a video link on here, but I'm going to just read it off anyway. This is the Lafayette shooting. 3 dead, including lone gunman, and 9 injured. And it says here, a lone gunman opened fire inside a crowded movie theater in Lafayette, Louisiana on Thursday evening, killing 2 people and injuring at least 9 others before taking his own life, police said. The gunfire erupted during a show of the film Trainwreck front and an audience of more than 100 people. According to a witness, a man described by police as white and age 59 stood up and started shooting. Police identified the gunman as John Russell Hauser, and it is believed he was acting on his own. He died of a self-inflicted wound after discharging his weapon, a semi-automatic handgun, numerous times. Police said he was dead before officers entered the theater. At least 9 people were left with injuries ranging from non-life-threatening to critical. According to Lafayette Police Chief Jim Craft, one of the victims died in the hospital. Another woman has had surgery and said to be in critical condition. Other wounded victims are said to have life-threatening injuries. The victims were identified as 33-year-old Jillian Johnson and 21-year-old Macy Brooks. Witnesses and officials described some panic, but also as heroism as the gunman opened fire only minutes after the movie began. We heard a loud pop. We thought it was a firecracker, Katie Damog told the Louisiana Advertiser. Damog, he saw an older man standing up and shooting in the theater, but not in her direction. She wasn't saying anything. I didn't hear anybody screaming either. Domingo told the newspaper she only heard about 6 shots before she and her fiancé ran to the nearest exit, leaving behind her shoes and purse. Alright, sorry about that. Paige Baird, who was in the movie theater next door, told CNN the person next to her received a call from someone who was unable to enter the theater because the door was locked due to a suspected active shooter. When the lights came on and the alarm was sounded, people in the theater started to run, and Barb says she saw a woman with a gunshot to the leg being loaded into an ambulance. Later, it emerged that 2 teachers who had been in the theater had raised the alarm, and one had even thrown herself in the front of the shooter to save her friend. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal told a press conference that he had talked to the teachers, who's described as heroes. Even though she was shot in the leg, she had the presence of mind to pull the fire alarm to help save other lives, he said. Now I think is as we learn more about the details tonight, we're going to hear about other acts of selfless heroism of people trying to help each other and trying to save other lives. Janelle commented, the first responders who he said ran towards the shots fired towards danger. This is a time for us to come together, said Janelle. We cannot do this as we can do is pray. Well, he did share a Twitter to say, pray for Lafayette at Grand Theater, talking to State Police Colonel about shooting in Lafayette. Authorities searched cars in the parking lot of the theater on a main thoroughfare and dispatched officers to other theaters in Lafayette and the gunman's house. Bomb squad officers detonated a suspicious package in the gunman's case and a backpack inside the cinema. Both out to be harmless, police chief said Kraft, and the suspect has some criminal history, but it was old. No manifesto has been found that might explain his motive, police said. Investigators have offered no immediate motive, and gunman's body remained inside the theater several hours later. None of the victims were immediately identified by authorities. Comedian and actor Amy Schumer, whose movie Trainwreck was showing in the theater where the shooting took place, tweeted her shock at the evening's event. "My heart is broken. All my thoughts and prayers are with everyone in Louisiana," she wrote. Is in Twitter. In a BBC interview excerpt that aired on Thursday before the shooting, Barack Obama said his biggest frustration was a failure to pass common sense gun safety law. Ooh, man, I like this guy this person has guts putting it out there, the writer. This is interesting. See, something to think about right now. The Louisiana shooting occurred 3 years after James Holmes entered a crowded movie theater in a suburban Denver, Colorado, and opened fire during the premiere of a Batman film, The Dark Knight Rises, killing 12 people and injuring 70 others. A jury last week quickly convicted Holmes on 165 counts of murder, attempted murder, and other charges, rejected defense arguments that he was insane and suffering delusions that drove him to the 20th July 2012 attack. The trial entered a new phase this week as the same jurors decided whether Holmes should die for his crimes. The jury decided unanimously Thursday that Colorado attack was cruel enough to justify the death penalty, but jurors must hear the defense's argument for a life term before deciding whether Holmes, 27, will be sentenced to death. The sentencing phase could last up to a month. Prosecutors said Holmes planned and carried out the massacre and to assuage pains for the failures in his graduate school and in romance. Defense lawyers said schizophrenia had been growing inside Holmes' mind for years and eventually overwhelmed him, creating the illusion that he could improve his self-worth by killing others and absorbing their value. So, you're going to be expecting, I won't be surprised, I'm not watching the idiot box, expecting, how come this happened? And they're going to talk about the same gentleman, the gentleman that was involved, or allegedly involved in the shootings of the recruiters, okay? The recruiters being shot. And, of course, James Holmes. What do those three facilities have in common? Don't be surprised if this particular theater was a firearm-free zone. Happened with that one chase with Mr. Dylan Roof. So it's like a pattern here. Something to really contemplate. And you're gonna hear people talk about we need tougher gun laws, common sense gun laws. They're gonna try to sugarcoat it. They're gonna use the Ed Benazes playbook. Propaganda. Individuals like Mr. Rover here. John Russell Hauser, he's responsible for that. I don't know anything more about him at this time. I'm not going to be a conspiracy nut or fanatic or anything like that. But you have to question everything. Look at the broader perspective. Like it's great that they put the alarm on, got people's attention. Yes, that's great. But one thing about firearm-free zones, they're criminal invitation facilities. Try not to never display these things. Let them decide. Let them take that chance. Because one day they may face a place that's armed or an armed citizen. See, criminals are afraid of that more. But John Russell Hauser, we don't know his health, his well-being. Was he on some mind-altering drugs? It's possible. But you're going to expect exploitation 101. Enough. Let's see how accurate this story really is. That's the main idea. And furthermore, keep these folks in your prayers. And I just want to make sure, and hopefully, this story is genuine and legit. Hate saying that. Because remember, Sandy Hook shooting, that was in a firearm-free zone. And you know what? According to the FBI report, Tablet 8 in Connecticut, Newton, there were 0 murders in Newton, Connecticut in 2012. So how Sandy Hook shootings is accurate? Something to really contemplate over. And this is why I am very proud to be pro self-defense. that's the measure we got to use. I'm not saying it's simple. I'm not saying it's fascinating if you have to shoot somebody, Lord willing. You live once, you value it. And like I said before, check out the St. James Church Massacre or Charles Van Wyck called Shooting Back. How he saved over 900 lives. Real horrific event. He didn't feel glorified and say, oh yeah, I'm some hero. No, he was a humble man. He had a lot of anger too. But he learned how to counter it. And this is how far I'll go on that. Yeah, this is a real shame, my friends. Really shame. Alright. Next one here came from The Guardian again. And this keeps going and going and going. This is under, of course, politics. Leon Brittan among senior Westminster figures named in new child abuse files. This is by Ben Quinn and Josh Holliday. It came out a couple of days ago. It says here Peter Morrison, Peter Heyman, and William Van Strabenzy, also named in previously unreleased documents, which police will pass according to inquiry. Government papers about the former Home Secretary Leon Brittan are among fresh batch of documents which have come to light months after the conclusion of an official review into whether allegations of child abuse was covered by the Home Office in the 1980s. The documents also revealed that then Director General of MI5 corresponded with Cabinet Secretary in 1986 about an unnamed MP who was alleged to have a penchant for small boys but accepted the politician's word that he did not. The letter from Sir Anthony Duff to Sir Robert Armstrong added, at the present stage, the risk of political embarrassment to the government is rather greater than the security danger, making it clear that they are concerned and disappointed about not being told earlier about the documents. Authors of a report earlier this year into allegations into historical child abuse by powerful figures cited the later as a striking example of how crimes against children were not considered seriously as they would today. The risk children is not considered at all. Peter Ranless, chief executive of the NSPP, a barrister, Richard Whitman, said in the supplement to their review published online on Tuesday. The Home Office said a fresh search for the archives has been carried out after a file emerged earlier this year that should have been submitted to Ranless and Whitman. Previously unreleased files also concerned figures including Margaret Thatcher's parliamentary private secretary, the late Sir Peter Morrison, former diplomat Sir Peter Heyman, and former Minister Sir William Van Strabenzy. The papers pertaining to Brittan, which among a number shown to police are contained in store of Cabinet Office papers at the National Archives known as the Cabinet Secretary's miscellaneous papers, will be passed on to ongoing independent inquiry into child abuse within state and non-state institutions led by Justice Lowell Goddard. The papers are described by the Cabinet Office as largely uncatalogued and unregistered and were accumulated over several decades up to 2007. No further details have so far been revealed. Ranless and Whitman called for a broader search of material at government departments at the Cabinet Office and Home Office, informed them that further relevant material had been found. The papers also contain material on allegations by former British Army intelligence agents Colin Wallace about the Kincora Boys home in Northern Ireland, which has been long at the center of abuse claims. The Ranless Review, published in November after the investigation of 114 missing Home Office files, could not rule out the possibility of files being destroyed as part of a cover-up of child abuse allegations in the 1980s, but the inquiry concluded that record-keeping practices at the time meant it was not possible to reach a categorical decision either way. In a joint letter written in June, Wallace and Whitman said the discovery illustrated the merit of wide-ranging search, constrained by what the Home Office in particular might or might not have known, with departments paying particular attention to relevant material that is not registered. We anticipate that the independent inquiry into child sex abuse chaired by Justice Goddard would expect no less. They reveal that the Cabinet Office Permanent Secretary Richard Heaton wrote to Rhineless in May apologizing for a flaw in the way the Cabinet Office initially responded to the request for documents and confirming that 3 categories of papers had been since identified as potentially relevant. We are concerned and disappointed that the Cabinet Office was aware of the separate Cabinet Office store of assorted and unstructured papers, yet informed us that the searches covered all records had files held, and note that note said, the recently unearthed material does not suggest that documents relating to Sir Peter Heyman, a diplomat linked to a pedophile scandal, had been destroyed, the co-author said. However, they added that said, it is essential that the public have confidence in the searches that were undertaken, not least because we had to rely on the efficiency and integrity of those who sought material on our behalf. The emergence of these papers after our review had completed is not helpful in that regard. It also emerged that the Home Office failed to review unregistered government documents held at the National Archives for the Randless review. They were only searched later, following requests from the MP John Hemming and the national newspaper Willis. It is important that these files have been identified as they tell outside terms of reference. It is not for us to examine them now. Their discovery reflects the known restricted nature of our review, the co-author said, adding that a broader search of material should not be undertaken. In a written ministerial statement, May said, the supplementary report concludes that the discovery of these papers show the need for all departments will be able to search material both on and off record management systems. This is particularly important given that the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse will be asking for departments to produce relevant documents in the near future. I've been clear that this is vital for the whole government fully cooperates with the inquiry on its important work and ensures that departments have the systems and process in place in order to do so. Well, this is getting exposed by the day. I remember some of these people they call conspiracy nuts from talking about this in England. One of them was David Icke. Okay, yeah, people can say whatever you want, but you know what? He was dead. He was spot on in this area. He knew what the man was talking about. Everyone thought he was nuts. He was a kook and all that. And now look what happened. A lot of these perverts are running naked. Weren't even a leaf or a barrel. So it's like another chapter, I would say, on this sexual abuse going in England. It's just an example. It's happening around the world. Okay, sex trafficking is dead wrong, and these vultures need justice. What they deserve through due process. And it's really sick when people try to defend these individuals without merit. Let's go see how far this goes, my friends. But the pot is thickening, and the cesspool is starting to deteriorate. The cesspool is really has risen. And now it's going to hit a wall. Or a dike or a dam, whatever you want to call it. Very interesting here. So, as always a time, like look what happened in Penn State, just another example. And, of course, there are other even the districts and counties in England, they had cases like this as well. A lot of them like the power and the lust and their energy, and the children's energies. Very, like, say, mystical, perhaps. But I know folks, doesn't matter what creed they are, they condemn this with a passion. I know there's a lot of people have different views, which I don't have to really say or who said it. You can figure it out yourselves. You can watch the interviews too. Other interviews on these things. So, alright, well, I'm going to do one more thing here. It's from naturalnews.com. Came out yesterday. Mike Adams wrote it. It says here, it's entitled, Holistic Cancer Treatment Pioneer Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez Dies Suddenly. Patients mourn the loss of a compassionate, innovative doctor who helped thousands heal from cancer. And as it reads here, the holistic cancer treatment pioneer Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez died earlier this morning, apparently from a heart attack, according to reports Natural News has received from close friends. Dr. Gonzalez is best known as a pioneer holistic cancer treatment doctor who helped many thousand people overcome cancer through the use of complementary and holistic treatment protocols. And with great sadness at the office of Nicholas J. Gonzalez, M.D., relays news his untimely death on Tuesday, July 21st, 2015. The cause of death was cardiac related. It appears that he had suddenly collapsed and was unable to be revived. Dr. Gonzalez was in excellent health otherwise, so his passing is quite unexpected, reports Dr. Gonzalez' website. Dr. Gonzalez's influence across the alternative medicine world cannot be overstated. He was loved and cherished by millions. He was prominently featured in countless books, documents, summits, interviews, and articles. He collaborated extensively with Suzanne Somers, author of widely acclaimed life-saving book, Knockout, Interviews with Doctors Who Are Curing Cancer. How to Prevent Getting It in the First Place. The book is a lifesaver for those considering conventional cancer treatments. See the complete collection of Dr. Gonzalez's interviews with Robert Scott Bell at this link. There's a link for that. These radio interviews span 4 years and covering an exhaustive array of topics on cancer prevention and other cancer treatments. Dr. Gonzalez is also the author of What Went Wrong, the truth behind the clinical trial of the enzyme treatment of cancer, where he blew the whistle on a concerted effort by the cancer industry to destroy evidence of a readily available low-cost cancer treatment protocol that could have saved thousands of lives a year. Dr. Gonzalez leaves a legacy of faith, healing, and genuine love of people and pursuit of medicine. We are heartbroken at this loss, but determined to keep his work and his memory alive, says his website. What else we know about his untimely passing? With respect to Dr. Gonzalez, then close to him, there are certain details of his passing which shall remain private. The things we believe are appropriate to share publicly include these facts. He passed away alone. His body was discovered sometime after his passing. An autopsy has not yet been performed. We are not aware of whether autopsy is being requested. Everyone close to him is shocked of his passing, knowing that he was in excellent health. There is currently no evidence of foul play in his death. I am aware that a number of people are reporting of what appear to be sudden wave of seemingly mysterious deaths among alternative medicine doctors and industry pioneers. There will be no doubt be a tremendous amount of speculation that asks whether Dr. Gonzalez has somehow been deliberately killed. Such speculation is highly premature, as none of us are aware of any facts which would support such a notion at this time. We can't rule it out, but there is presently no evidence that foul play is to blame here. Out of respect for the partners, family members, and close friends, Dr. Gonzalez, who are devastated by this tragic loss of such an extraordinary human being. I am personally asking the natural health community to allow these people the time and space to grieve this devastating loss without interference of trying to deal with assassination theories and similar discussions. There will be an appropriate time for that analysis. I will be personally involved in the investigation. However, that time is not today. Today we collectively mourn the loss of an extraordinary human being who helped save countless lives over decades of practicing healing medicine. May his soul be richly rewarded for his contribution to humanity and his courage in standing up for the truth about healing cancer. Dr. Gonzalez will be lovingly remembered by all of us at Natural News. Mike Adams. And there is a link for that too on goodgopher.com. Search engine for truth seekers. So I'm going to have to check that out, that website, search engine too. It is very disturbing when you think about it. When you have people that practice natural medicines or holistic medicines are being taken out. Because I don't know if you notice in my past episodes, I did discuss this as well. And it's very annoying. But I cannot really jump the gun yet. You have to be methodical in these incidences, these events. Is this could be part of the war on terror movement? Possibly. But I'm not going to spew all that rhetoric because we have to pay respects to a good man. And I am going to grant Mike Adams' wishes on this. But the time will come when we all going to be discussing how this happened. Even with the corporate medicine, I call it fascistic healthcare. They hate people like him and every other holistic doctor in this country. They want it all. They want it all. And I'm going to add one more note here. This is by Dr. Robert J. Rowan, and he wrote this out like a day ago. And it says here, untimely pass of an integrative medical great. As I write this, I am in a grieving state of shock over the sudden and unexpected passing of a friend, mentor, integrative medicine hero. Nick Gonzalez, MD of Manhattan, suddenly died 2 days ago. Nick was a protege of William Donald Kelly, DDS, who cured himself of uncurable pancreatic cancer many years ago and went on a cure to cure many people, some still alive today, of cancer with diet, pancreatic enzymes, and detoxification. Dr. Gonzalez went to observe Dr. Kelly while medical school, expecting to discredit the work, but was stunned at the successes and eventually took up and improved on Kelly's work. Dr. Gonzalez wrote many books on the subject of cancer being treatable by enzymatic therapy, and even conducted a study overseen by Columbia University. The institution was not nearly as kind to the subject as the investigating student Gonzalez. According to Dr. Gonzalez, he stacked the deck against him, giving his program by far the worst patients compared to the controls, so that the results did not come out positive. He was brave enough to take them straight on over medical corruption, detailing highly significant violations of randomization. His death is the latest in a series of strange deaths of integrative physicians in recent weeks and raises suspicion. I am told that he may not have been in the best of health, as many of his friends, like me, presumed that he died of natural causes, a heart attack. Nick taught me a lot, and I continue to use his suggestions for many of my cancer patients, including liver detoxing, enzymes, and more. His partner, Linda Isaac Isaacs survives his professional work in Manhattan. I hope she will be able to continue the vital mission in the absence of this powerhouse. I consider Dr. Gonzalez amongst of the brightest, finest, and best of those in integrative medicine. Please join me in lending a positive thought out of the universe for this fine and brave man, and that his survivors, both personal, family, and professional, will be able to carry on his incredible legacy. That was very beautiful, written by Dr. Robert J. Rowan. And it's true. Like I said, keep the legacy going. I say this in good faith, there's a big war going on with holistic doctors, alternative doctors. They're not involved with the mainstream or corporate medicine. We need to support these individuals. They're making an impact on everyone's lives. It will drive the ACA Klan, the Affordable Care Act cronies, crazy. We need to start pursuing this. Now with the information age, everyone needs to take advantage of it. I know I digressed this a few times before. I apologize, but it has to be fulfilled. Keep Dr. Gonzalez's legacy and many others that practice holistic medicine that's gone. May its soul be forever free, but let's keep that particular movement alive. Don't surrender, my friends. Whatever you do. And that is it. And thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode. Plus, please feel free to download and share this throughout your social media network. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, love letters, hate letters, compliments, criticisms, etc., that includes sending me information, I recommend use it with decorum. It'd be great. No, you guys are good, so I never had any beef. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, or send your comments to iHeartRadio. Or feel free to email me at lokiluck3@gmail.com. That's the number 3, so it's all together. lokiluck3@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.